Work in process is the cost of partially completed goods, and you need to understand work in process, or WIP, WIP, to understand the flow of manufacturing costs. And a good example that happened recently is that Land Rover has restarted car production in Britain after having a cyber attack. And one of the things that I learned was they have hundreds of small, mostly small suppliers in their supply chain. So here's how to picture work in process. If you can imagine a factory closing at night, the Land Rovers that are partially completed on the factory floor, that's what work in process is. So what are the costs included in work in process? Three things: direct labor, direct material, and overhead. And you can imagine them off to the side in what we call control accounts, so direct labor control, etc. As those costs move into production, we spend 20 hours of labor making a car. We bring in a bumper that we put it into the supply chain. When it goes into work in process in that bucket, those costs move into production. So WIP, if you can imagine a bucket, has direct labor, direct materials, and an allocation of overhead in it. Once the car is completed, it moves out of work in process and into finished goods. And when the car is sold, it moves from finished goods into cost of goods sold. So it's costs all the way through until the very end, when it becomes an expense, which is cost of sales, but only at the end. So we can take another example. Let's say you're a clothing manufacturer, you make women's dresses. So your WIP is partially completed dresses that are on the factory floor when you close the doors at the end of the day. You've got direct labor, people running sewing machines. You've got direct material, cotton and other fabrics that are going in to make the dress. You've got an allocation of overhead, which is part of the utility cost to run the factory. Those are going into WIP. Imagine a bucket. Those are the WIP costs, work in process. When you finish a dress, it goes out into finished goods, still an asset, just like WIP and inventory, it's all an asset. Then when the dress is sold, it becomes cost of goods sold. And at that point, it's an expense when it's sold to a customer. So that is how work in process works.